The story of Jesus' encounter with the centurion whose servant was paralyzed addresses a problem of paramount importance for all nations, namely the problem of the ground of authority. In Matthew 8, verses 5 to 13, a centurion reaches out to Jesus, asking him to provide the single word that will save the centurion's own servant, his pais or puer, not a generic doulo in Greek or servus, from painful paralysis. Now, the terrible pain that the son-like servant is in anticipates the pain that the children of the heavenly kingdom will be in, as per Jesus' own account. How can the children be saved? Well, by a spiritual word that worldly authorities must trust as foundation of their own authority. Jesus praises the centurion for his belief, his pistis or fides in Latin. Now, what does the centurion believe? Well, he trusts that divine authority speaks in human authority without manifesting itself openly. Hence, the centurion's humble refrain from asking Jesus to present himself under the soldier's roof. Divine authority is not to replace, but redeem worldly authority. Similarly, the kingdom of heaven is not to replace or displace, but mysteriously fulfill worldly kingdoms. The way of redemption is illuminated by the parallel between the children of the kingdom, the filii regni, oi huioi tes basileias in Greek, and the puer, or the pais in Greek, of the centurion. They are all paralyzed outside of the kingdom of pietas, of reverence for authority. They are paralyzed into outer darkness, in tenebras exteriores, as opposed to living freely in the light, in the kingdom of spirit, the kingdom that grounds physical exteriorities instead of expanding before us. The kingdom that hides in God's mind rather than disappearing outside of it. The children Jesus speaks of have drifted into hellish exteriorities, appearances alienated from their interiority, the outer cut off from the inner, failing to be naturally responsive to authority. They are as stones, so paralyzed, as lifeless things. Authority no longer speaks to them, in the sense that authority is no longer meaningful to them. It does not help them awaken out of a condition of slavery. So they resent it. They do not trust authorities, their superiors, their fathers ultimately. They are children in a conventional sense, and in this sense, servants obliged to serve. But a terrible split has occurred between authority and the nature of those subject to authority. The dialogue between authorities and their subjects is interrupted, just as it is in Dante's Inferno. The subjects of authority addressed by Jesus are no longer sons, filii, huioi, who inherit the kingdom of heaven, the true kingdom, the spiritual essence of all physical kingdoms. For those who are now called sons are sons merely by convention or nominally. There is no indictment of Jews in Jesus' words, but a prophecy about inheritance. Those who are supposed to inherit authority according to the law, those who are bound to superiors by the law, tend to rely more and more on exteriorities or on tradition, forgetting that the bond tying us to authority is direct and divine, or purely spiritual. Jesus is supporting the centurion, animating the soldier's word in response to the soldier's faith, his openness to the ground of his own life, of his own authority. While fathers invite their progeny to the banquet of the mind, to feast upon the true meaning or essence of their inheritance, their progeny may not respond to their father's invitations. Thereupon, the invitation is extended to the many, or polloi, multi, who are not the few who have been traditionally chosen by the law. Out of the many there shall rise some who have ears to hear, the few, a natural aristocracy, to speak with Aristotle, who are the true inheritors of the divine mandate.